This is the final segment of our final show with Councilman JMaynard3, who is the Metropolitan Council person.
That's correct.
For the entire metropolitan area.
That's right.
I think that
council member at large.
Council member at large.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes I get that confused.
That's
with
okay.
Just being a council.
Just call me
person.
Jerry.
But you're a council member at large, and we certainly appreciate that, and we know that. And let's do in this final 8 or 10 minutes that we have, Councilman, talk about some of the developments that has been directed primarily at the national administration, as we refer to it, and about what Mr. Obama has done and what he's trying to do in terms of trying to bring us out of the deep depression and recession that we've been in.
Right. Well, here's what happened. We know in November that we had an election and where Republicans were elected. In fact, it was one of the greatest elections for Republicans since 1938. And unfortunately, we had a lot of courageous congresspersons and senators who stood up for America and the working families and said, we're going to do what's right for working families. And unfortunately, their message got lost because of the attacks, the lies, and the deceptions that were done on the other side. Look what happened with President Obama when he was inaugurated. 2 failed wars, one in Afghanistan, one in Iraq. You had the worst recession since the Depression. You had General Motors, Chrysler, and Ford almost going out of business. Then later we had the oil spill, right? And then we had all of these major issues and all these major problems that President Barack Obama walks into. You had the housing crises. We had more foreclosures in the history of our country. With all of those issues, with all of those problems, what does President Obama does? He creates a stimulus package that saves Wall Street. He saves General Motors and Chrysler. Now General Motors is out of bankruptcy, making a profit, making product. Chrysler, same thing. Ford is also saved. So we saved the automobile industry, which would have led to over 3 million jobs being lost had we not saved General Motors alone. Think about that.
That's right.
Think about that. Then you have a healthcare crisis where 50 million people do not have health care, where healthcare costs are going so high that the #1 cost for all employers right now is healthcare costs. Yet Obama was able to lead us to get a healthcare plan to save the automobile industry, to save us in Wall Street, to deal with the housing, and to provide a stimulus package for the infrastructure of the country. A lot of people don't know this, but our bridges and highways were going completely, were being destroyed because of a lack of attention and maintenance over the last 15 to 20 years. If we had not had that stimulus package, we would have had to lay off teachers, police officers, and firefighters over the last 2 years. But because of the stimulus package, it created jobs because we dealt with highways, bridges, and infrastructure. And we were able to save jobs. For those persons who say, oh, big government and the stimulus package and the bailouts and all that, let me tell you something. With the flood that came in May, without federal government, we will not be able to rebuild our city. So anybody, Doc, who tells you about their anti-big government and we shouldn't be bailing out people and we should have stimulus, let me tell you something. You would have lost police officers, teachers, and firefighters, and our flooded community could not be rebuilt without the federal government. So the federal government has a role, and President Obama has shown strong leadership. Unfortunately, he made this one mistake. He thought if he would come in and reach out to the Republicans on the other side, they would reach back out to him. He learned a hard lesson. They tattooed him. They attacked him. They just, instead of reaching back and saying, what can we do what's best for our country? They said, we're going to make this a living hell for you in the presidency. And unfortunately, he did not have a message to hit back. He didn't fight back. On the health care reform, he should have fought back. Here's what I would have done if I was president. I would have gone to every congressman who said they were against Obamacare. And I would have said, in your congressional district, you have thousands of people without health care. You're going to have to close your hospital. These people are going to die because they have no health care. The hospitals are going to have to close. And you're going to tell me, you're going to look your constituents in the eye and tell those persons who cannot qualify for insurance because they have a pre-existing condition, or those rural hospitals are going to close because we no longer have enough money in order to sustain the hospitals. And all these people who need surgery, who have no jobs and no money, or work at Walmart without any benefits. Tell those to their face, those constituents, that you're against Obamacare. See, if you had come and fought hard the way he was supposed to, the main mistake he made, he tried to come in and act like he was above politics. And that's the only criticism I have of Obama. He should have came in there and fought hard. I would have gone to every congressional district. I would have had crowds of people without health insurance and said, you tell them that you're going to vote against Obamacare.
And that's exactly what they have to tell them now when they talk about trying to remove it, repeal